Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to A Drink with Crazy. What's going on, everybody? We got the Pineappler, we got Leave99, we got some other people in the chat lurking. I see you lurking. So I just want you to know I see you. You little antisocial lurkers in the chat. I see you. You introverts. No, I'm just going to put you on while I do other things. I'm not even going to say hi. Not even going to say hi. I'm just going to be like a little YouTube voyeur, just listening to what you say while I do other things. It's kind of weird. Say hello in the chat. If you're in the chat, say hello in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, happy Monday. Oh my goodness. So, I have no idea what we're even talking about tonight. I pulled up a story, popped up some videos from what was recommended, some from the YouTube live stream recommendations and some from not. But if you guys are in the Discord, you guys are recommending stuff for me to react to, and it's so funny. I got a comment. Okay. I got this comment, and it was like, it's so funny to see all these small channels out here reacting to all these big stories that the bigger YouTubers are. And he's like, there's just like no nuance in the conversation anymore. It's like, and I was like, I kind of feel like I get it, but when you live in society, you're going to have some of the same views as other people out there who are already doing the thing. So, it is what it is. Leo, right? You're not supposed to acknowledge anyone. Yeah, very true. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the chat. It's going to be a fun night tonight. Let me know if my audio is good for you guys. I want to make sure that I'm providing a good audio experience to everybody because audio is more important than visuals, believe it or not. I've got a bunch of stuff pulled up tonight, and we're going to see how much of it we can get through. But before we do all of that, let's take a quick moment to say a prayer for those in our life that we are thinking about, those we think need prayers, whether it be ourselves, family members, friends, or even strangers. And so let's get the stream started off, ladies and gentlemen, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen. All right, so to kick things off tonight, we're kind of sticking with the theme of age verification that has just so many stories of age verification between Discord, other countries, and things like that going on in the world right now. It's really interesting how a few years ago, a lot of governments, a lot of companies, everybody, they were pushing digital ID, and they're still kind of, and like very recently, I say a few years ago, but they've been trying to push this digital ID thing so they can literally track you online for as long as they want to and for whatever reasons that they want to, whether they believe you to be doing nefarious things or not. And California is actually introducing a law for age verification on all operating systems, including Linux and SteamOS. User age verified during OS account setup. So you go to the store, you buy a new computer. It has a Windows on it. It's got Linux on it. It's got Mac on it. It does not matter. In order to log into those systems, you have to create an account, and they want to age verify you. First of all, why do you need age verification for just to have an operating system on the operating system is just like, hey, you can use it. It literally is what makes the computer function. That's like requiring age verification to just own a vehicle. Guess what? If you're a young kid and you go, man, I'm going to buy this vehicle and I'm going to work on this vehicle, and then when I turn 16, it's going to be working. Like maybe you're a gearhead at a very young age and you want to buy an old classic car and your parents help you out. So you buy this old classic car and you're like, cool. And every time you go to the store with your cash that you're saving up from like mowing lawns or whatever, they say, well, we need to verify your age so that way you can just buy the parts to make the car work. That's what this is like. This is absolutely... And again, it doesn't seem like these lawmakers even really care at this point. But California introduces an age verification law for all operating systems on your computer. So California's Digital Age Assurance Act, or AB 1043, signed by Governor Gavin Newsom in October 25, requires every operating system provider in California to collect age information from its users. To collect. I hate that. Why are you collecting my data? Okay. Information from users at account setup and transmit that data to app developers via real-time API, with law taking effect on January 1, 2027. So if you live in the state of California and you want Windows, or you want SteamOS, or you want any OS in the state of California, there are other operating systems out there that people use. Linux is another popular one, but there are other smaller ones as well. But if you want to just own a computer and use a computer, you now have to provide your age verification, whatever that means. I don't know if that's going to require ID verification. I don't know if that's going to be picture verification, but you need to willingly give up your data to the operating system, and then they are going to transmit that data to app developers. So they're going to take that data from you and they're going to send it to other people. That's so secure. This is such a secure way to make sure that, we're just tracking people. I'm sorry, this whole idea that it's for the children, we're just again, if it were for the children, we would be, as a society, trying to tell parents, and we would be trying to let parents know to be responsible with their kids online. And they're not doing. This is not to protect the children. This is absolute. And again, they're not even hiding it. They want to, where did it say it? Collect age information, and then they want to transmit that data. How on God's green earth is this not just, is this not being revolted by people? And this is the stuff, and it's already passed. It's going to hit in January 2027, which means, and guess what? Windows, SteamOS, any operating system, because California is such a mass market, this is going to affect the rest of the fucking world. The rest of the world, okay? The law's broad definition of an operating system provider: anyone who develops, licenses, or controls the operating system software on a computer, mobile device. Oh my gosh, that's so Android OS, Apple OS, anything, or any other general purpose communicating device. So Android, Google now has to take your data and send it to more people than they were sending it to already by law. A nefarious practice that we as people are we've been trying to move in the opposite direction. And now it is being codified in California law that bad practices that customers and consumers have been advocating against for years is now being codified into law as the practice that must be followed. This is absolutely insane. Pulls in not just Windows, Mac OS, Android, and iOS, but Linux distribution and Valve's SteamOS and any other operating system wants to operate. Now they could just say, look, our operating system is not available in California. We're just not going to do that. This is absolutely insane. And again, they're going to collect your information and they are required to transmit that data. So not only is it a requirement for you to give your information to these companies by law now these companies are required to transmit it. Boy, that's interesting. According to AB 1043, OS providers must maintain a reasonably consistent real-time application program interface that categorizes users into 4 age brackets: under 13, 13 to 16, 16 to under 18, and 18 or older, and hand that signal to any developer who requests it when their app is downloaded or launched. They legitimately are codifying into law that your data be taken and transmitted away. This is insane. We've been fighting against this as customers and advocating for consumer protection that our data not be shared with other people against our will. And now it's being codified into law that you have to send it. You have to give it to these people. And now California is like, and not only that, they have to send it by law. These companies are now no longer required to protect your data. They're now required to share your data. Your data online is now being required by California law to be sent off and shared with other companies. Dude, this is going to open up so many fraud abuse cases. It's absolutely insane, because if you read here, okay, that signals to any developer who requests it when their app is downloaded or launched. You are going to see so many nefarious actors creating apps, okay, that are cheap or little stupid games or whatever. Chinese companies, Indian companies, it does not matter what company, European companies in the Middle East, okay, when their app is downloaded. So if they want to be on your, this is a gateway to fraud in other countries. This is a gateway to getting your data to other countries. This is absolutely insane. California, they are governed by morons. Actually, I won't even say morons. This is deliberate. This is absolutely deliberate. What the hell? Not only do they require you to give up your data, they're requiring the transmission of your data to any developer who requests it when their app is downloaded or launched. What in the absolute hell? Any developer who requests it. Are there amendments or anything that denies requests from, I don't know, Chinese companies or other foreign actors that we know are bad actors? No, fuck it. No. You need to send it to any, under penalty of law, any developer. Any developer. What? Oh my God. This is insane. This needs to be challenged in the Supreme Court. I thought this was bad when I read the headline. I did not realize how bad this was. Holy crap. Developers who receive the signals are deemed to have actual knowledge of their user's age range under the law, which shifts legal liabilities for age-appropriate content decision. Really? So how is California going to go after China? How are you going to go after companies in the Middle East that are collecting this data? How are you going to go after other countries, California, for not doing this? Appropriate content decisions onto them. Penalties for non-compliance run up to $2,500 per affected child, or negligent violations up to $7,500 for intentional ones, enforced by the California Attorney General. Let me know how that works out for you, California. When companies who have who are working in other countries decide they're not going to follow California's law, how are you going to collect? How are you going to collect these fines, these penalties for non-compliance? Are you going to go after other countries? Are you going to sue companies and $2,500 per affected? This is negligent. This is negligent to these people. Even if you ran up like 10,000 cases, a lot of these companies that are making billions, that's a pittance to pay. And guess what you're doing? You're giving them American data. You are giving foreign actors American data. This is fucking insane. Let me go to the split screen here, see how the split screen looks, because I haven't done this one in a while. Holy good effing Lord. What an absolutely insane like this is ridiculous. Let me adjust this screen here for you guys really quickly so that way we can make sure that everything on this screen is seen here. Oh, nope, that doesn't work that way. Oh man, this is what I am genuinely I believe the old-timey word is flabbergasted. I am flabbergasted by this, guys. What in the absolute hell? What in the absolute hell it is even this? This is ridiculous. Why is the YouTube? Okay. Holy crap. This is ridiculous. This is insane. Okay. The law does not require photo ID uploads or facial recognition with users, instead simply self-reporting their age setting. Okay, self-reporting, maybe that's a defense for this. Like, what is going on? Like, that's okay. Apart from similar as passed in Texas and Utah that require commercially reasonable verification methods, such as government issue ID checks. Yeah, see, again, Texas and Utah aren't even helping us. Okay, Assembly members, there's a typo there. Buffy Wicks, who authorized the bill, said this avoids constitutional concerns by focusing strictly on age assurance, not content moderation. In a press release, the bill passed. Passed both chambers unanimously, 76-0 in an Assembly and 38-0 in the Senate. Oh, so Republicans voted on this because there's some Republicans in California as well. This is insane. Despite signing it, Newsom issued a statement urging the legislature to amend the law before its effective date, citing concerns from streaming services and game developers about complexities such as multi-user accounts shared by family member and user profiles utilized across multiple platforms, whether the amendment... Oh, so it's just like, oh, so you can't even let your kids play on your Xbox account. Enforcement against Linux distribution, however, is likely to be problematic. Distros like Arch, Ubuntu, Debian, and Gentoo have no centralized account infrastructure, with users downloading ISOs from mirrors worldwide and can modify source code freely. These small distros lack legal teams or resources to implement the required API. So a more realistic outcome for non-compliant distros is a disclaimer that the software is not intended for use in California. And that's what it's going to have to be. Holy shit. Dude, I thought this was going to be stupid. I thought this is nefarious. This is not. This is one. Obviously, what is it? It's Hanlon's razor or something like that. Never attribute malice that to which can be attributed to idiocy. This is malicious. This is malicious. They are willfully saying that under California law, your data must be transmitted by these companies to nefarious actors in other countries who are running apps on these OSs. This is insane. California wants to outsource your data to nefarious actors. This is absolutely insane. And again, we read earlier in it, by any developer who requests it. I don't. How many Americans in the US have a smartphone? I mean, is it a conservative amount to say 200 million Americans probably have a smartphone? Because you figure, voting age people, and then obviously we've got almost 400 million. We've got like 380 Americans, but a lot of those are still kids. Now, granted, I'm seeing young children with smartphones now, and that is not a good idea. But let's just say a nice round 250 million Americans have a smartphone. All of those have an operating system on them. All of those are required for age verification. And the companies being Android and Apple primarily, or the big ones, are now required to send your data, your age verification data, to whoever wants it. Whoever wants it. They are required to do this. That's nuts. we got to start finding third-party OSs, and we got to start jailbreaking some phones and getting OSs off of that. Like, we've got to figure this out. This is, I'm genuinely taken back by this. I thought I was just going to read another story about some California stupidity that was happening. I did not expect probably more phones than people. Well, yeah, especially if you consider people who work for businesses that require you to have a business phone as well. And like, I've worked for companies that are like, nope, you've got to have a work phone. You here's your work phone. This is what you have. Which, by the way, anybody out there who's just like, oh no, like I hate having two phones. It's horrible. It's unbelievably horrible running two cell phones. I hated it. I pay for my own phone. Just let me use my own phone for work. Like, as much as I don't like that, I hate having two phones too. But yeah, again, this is insane. California at this point they are operating maliciously against the American people. And I don't know what more I can say against that. Yeah, that's not a very nuanced take. I did not realize this was going to be this bad. I was like, oh, yeah, more age verification, guys. See, Discord's not getting away with it. They're not going to be able to get away with it. Guess what? Discord doesn't even need to do age verification now because they operate on Windows. They operate on Linux. They operate on wherever. And that data must be transmitted to them by the operating systems. What? We're getting motherfucked by our own government. We're getting absolutely motherfucked by our own government. I would argue, let's pull out our handy dandy Constitution here. I believe because this is mandated by the governments of the states, I believe this could potentially be a Fourth Amendment violation. Let's see. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, it's very dark. In their persons, right? Houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched, and the persons or things be seized. So again, let's go for this first. The shall not be violated. The right of the people to be secure in their persons. This is what we're talking about. Okay. Houses, papers, that does, okay, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. And again, there's a lot of commas in there. I believe this is a Fourth Amendment violation requiring companies to share your data under the government rule. They're not saying that the government's going to take your data, but I believe that because this is a government mandate, this could potentially be a Fourth Amendment violation. I'm not a fucking lawyer, though, but this does not make me secure in my person, and I'm not going to blame Google, Windows, or anybody else. I'm going to blame the government who is making me unsecure, not so secure in my person, in my data, or my papers being digital online data, because papers meaning just the form in which you carry your data on, right? Your information on. Well, now we carry our information digitally. Holy shit. This has got to get shared to some bigger people out there. This needs to have a larger voice on it. This needs to find your big YouTubers that you like to follow and just and try to get their attention. Join their Discords, share this with the big guys, because this is insanity that they are requiring your data to be sent off to other. That is not securing our data. That is horrifying. And they just do it. So any app developer, we know that most apps are made in China. We know that a lot of apps are made in Korea. We know that a lot of apps are made in other countries, and that it's just your age data bullshit. I would imagine it's not. I'm sorry. This needs to be stopped. This absolutely needs to be stopped, and this absolutely needs to be taken to the Supreme Court. And that makes some noise, guys. If you follow large YouTubers, here I will. I'll share the story. This is from Tom's Hardware. Okay, I want you guys to take this, and I want you guys to share this link. If you can copy and paste this link, take that link, copy it, paste it, share it with everybody. Make some noise about this. This is absolutely insane. Because this is being mandated by a government that companies do this, I believe that this is a breach of the Fourth Amendment. I believe it is. I might be wrong. But yeah, this is insane. Not only that, but again, it's any app developer who requests it. Did you know that governments make apps now? So California can be on these OSs. This is where I would make the Fourth Amendment violation. I would say that governments making apps can now request this information, which is an unwarranted. And it also, again, doesn't make me feel secure in my person. And any government that uses this, that requests this information, even in the United States, this is an unwarranted search or seizure of your personal data. I believe this is a Fourth Amendment violation. Because California, they have the Poop Tracker app. That is a California. I believe that is funded by the Californian government. And there's several other apps out there that are government entities. So under California law, if any government entity requests this information, they can just get it. And these companies are required to send it to any developer, any app developer that wants it. This is getting fucking worse. Oh my God. Get this to the Supreme Court. This is bullshit. Let's go to the chat. Let's go to the live chat. Thank you guys so much for watching the VOD. If you're checking out this video, I need to come up with the best title and the best thumbnail for this video. If you guys can help me hack that YouTube algorithm with titles and thumbnails, because that's where I really fail here, help me out. Let me know. I need to get this out to people. Let's go to the chat. Oh my gosh. We got a couple of we got a super chat from 885th Batman fan for $1. Thank you so much, dude. I really do appreciate it. And then Andrew Knapp sent in $5 a little earlier saying, state enforcing draconian policy by coercing corporations to enforce on their behalf sounds like something that starts with FA and ends in schism. You might not be wrong, Andrew Knapp. What did I just read? What? Why are they trying to lay off the FBI agents watching everything we do? Francis does his job, right? Hey, Vex, got you laugh. What's going on, Real Mark Wade? Good to see you, man. This information gathering will never be used for legit / moral purposes. Of course it won't be. Of course. Like, California is offering up your user data on a silver platter to any country or any state government that wants it, which again violates the Fourth Amendment. You are not supposed to do this. Redoubt Productions, fantastic history channel for those history buffs out there. By the way, the language being used for this act does not even echo the greater good excuse our esteemed and fairly elected officials like to use to sugarcoat things. Blatant data reaping. That's insane, dude. Governed by malice, elected by morons. Dude, we need less people to vote in this country. I'm sorry. This is stupid. The idea that you can vote just because you're fucking here, even because you were born here, this is ridiculous. We are being governed. We are being governed by morons, and those morons are the people who are voting. Did you hear about Microsoft and the Linux requiring facial recognition software to start a new PC? I did now. California truly are in a league of their own. I was not expecting to read that. I saw the headline and went, oh, another age verification law. I did not expect it to say that these companies are required to send your data somewhere else by anybody, by people who could knowingly be wanting to use that maliciously and not secured. That's insane. This is a power grab, no question about it. Yeah, probably more phones. Yep, Fourth Amendment violations. Good point. I strongly think this is a Fourth Amendment violation. The worst thing is it's not our government, but a single state's government. Yeah. Don't forget my super chat. I did not forget your super chat. They are probably trying to get around it by making it a third party. It doesn't matter. It's being required by fucking law. That is a government requiring your data being given up by law, by which the government can now create apps on these OS app stores and get your data. That's a fucking workaround. I don't know if you read the Fourth Amendment right just now with me, but I read it. There's no excuses for workarounds. Governments are not allowed to do this. What might be harder to make California poop tracker app should just teach should just track California politicians. Yeah, right. Dude, this is good Lord, man. It's like I don't like where this is going. This is going to a biblical place, and I don't like the biblical place that it's going for. All right. From a channel called Casual Geographic, how crows gave Earth's biggest city the middle finger. Huh? All right, we're gonna watch this. I don't even know what this is. What is this, and why was this sent to me? What are we about to watch? What are we about to watch? Let me chat. Please tell me if the audio is balanced. If this is too loud or too quiet or whatever. Please tell me. What?
I love you. I love you. I love you.
Do you have any idea how stressful a street war with birds would be? No, you don't, because you don't live in Tokyo.
This dude. Oh, I've seen this dude on Shorts. My wife loves his videos. This dude's chill as fuck. Yeah.
Tokyo has a gang problem. The problem is the members aren't human and can fly. At one point, there were more than 36,000 crows crowding the eastern capital, thanks to the massive amounts of trash produced by the city each year. Crows are...
Wait, so Japan can make awesome electronics. They can create anime. They've literally developed a subculture all over the world of a bunch of white people wanting to be them, but they can't fight the crows?
Basically monkeys minus thumbs, but with unlimited airtime. And corvids, along with others like ravens, jackdaws, and magpies, make up the smartest group of things with wings on the planet. Smart enough to use cars as nutcrackers, only to collect when the walk sign's on. And smart enough to memorize garbage routes for different parts of the city.
Oh yeah, I have seen some stuff about crows. Like, crows are wicked smart. Like, it's not even, wait, what? Oh, he's just like, hey lady, you want, wait, that is not a Japanese people. Do Japanese people come in that color?
Just to snatch trash before the workers do. But a habitual feather menace won't just wait for you to trash it, as Tokyo crows have robbed people to steal their loot. The bird called Garasu has bloodied the faces of school children while trying to make off.
He's going after the kid. What? Why is he going after the kid?
Candy, and have even broken into classrooms to raid lunchboxes. They'll also
storm That's not a classroom. That's a truck bed, good sir. And that's a hard hat. Oh, that guy is pissed. Oh, he is not happy. I would not be happy.
For a living lunch, often in the form of kidnapping baby prairie dogs and ducklings. Not to mention they'll attack livestock.
Prairie dogs are an invasive species in some areas, so that's probably not a bad idea. They need to have a natural predator.
Pecking at the udders and causing cuts that can lead to infection. That is if they don't just bleed out. In 2017, Tokyo's government received over 600...
Okay, so one, that cow was super unhealthy. You could see its ribs. That's not a cool thing. Wait, what? Wait, hold on. What am I missing here? Something about... We're going to go back a little bit.
just bleed out. In 2017, Tokyo's government received over 600 complaints of civilians thrashed by the aerial urbanite, with most coming in the spring, their nesting season. Which brings another problem. Crows nesting in utility poles have caused blackouts, and using fiber optic cables as material has brought down entire broadband networks. One time even shutting down high-speed bullet train service in Akita. Hundreds of millions of yen are spent each year removing nets.
This, by the way, is why overhead power and utility is outdated, and it is not good. It's not properly shielded. It can't properly hold up to like unforeseen circumstances like this. Overhead power is much easier to get going than underground power, but that's why you're seeing a lot of infrastructure changes in the US. We're now putting a lot of the utilities underground and in easements, even in your driveways and stuff like that. You're going to see a lot of hydraulic directional boring, replacing overhead lines with underground lines, whether that be cable, phone, which often in many cases are same. You go, phone line. You have a phone line to your house? Yes, you can still get landlines. We have one at our house because none of our kids have a cell phone and they don't need to have one. But also, again, electric. You really, really don't want this stuff up in the air. It's super volatile to the weather, and it just causes a lot of problems. But you still see it all over the U.S. Again, beneficial in some areas, not beneficial most of the time, especially with the technology that we have. But it is also very expensive to transfer it underground. It just is.
With the Hokuriku Electric Company stripping 15,880 in 2018. Yet somehow the Crows seem to shake it off. How? Well, because the Crows started making decoy dummy nests to lead them away from the real ones.
Wait, what?
Crows and Tokyoites have been beefing for years, but it didn't escalate until a certain event in 2001, when one Crow decided to dive bomb a man while he was playing golf. That man was Governor Shintaro Ishara, and he swiftly declared conflict on the Corvids, with promises of changing Japan's national dish to crow pie. Since then,
based. Absolutely based. Absolutely based. 1,000% based. The crow flew at my head. Must eat all the crow. Arigato.
and it's been on site and flight, with the government trying everything to combat a vindictive air terrorist, employing Hawk mercenaries to try to fight fire with feathers, and even installing beehives in the heart of Ginza, so the Ginpachi can give the crows a taste of arguably even more of a flying crash out. But one thing about Japan...
Why do I feel like that also harms the people? It's like, let's put bees where the people are so the crows stop going at the people. And the bees keep... What?
You don't f with the Yakuza, and these air gangsters have been testing people in ways arguably no other city animal ever has. And for all humanity's hubris, this might be the one time we have to eat crow. And not in the way that Chiji had in mind. So how did a bird manage to humble a nation the most since the Emu War of 32? Because at least
Alright, so the Emu War... I actually saw a thing about that. It's pretty wild. The Australians technically did beat the emus.
Emus are damn near dinosaur size. Well, like almost every...
No, I don't want to look up crows and wolves working together. No. Why? What?
Everything else, it started with our garbage. Tokyo produced 3.52 million metric tons of trash in 2001, and in 1994, the government switched from black plastic bags for curbside pickup to semi-see-through calcium carbonate options. The intent was to reduce environmental impact, but a consequence was the scavenge happy could now see what was in the bags and had a much easier time finding takeout. In recent years, Tokyo has seen a rise in bears and boars commuting into the city for trash, and wild macaques have continued to be...
Okay, it's more environmentally friendly, but it's less human habitation friendly. Again, keep in mind, we did the things that we did to make sure that we as humans could inhabit the areas that we wanted to inhabit. What were those areas that we wanted to inhabit? Why? Thank you for asking, imaginary voice in my head. It was the concrete jungles, right? The concrete and asphalt jungles that we make, that we inhabit, so that way we can live in air-conditioned places and... you know, do our live streams and watch our animes and all of that.
A problem. But according to a wildlife management study, out of the 10 major invasive species, it was crows that caused the highest percentage of harm. And it was also crows that people were most in favor for lethal measures against. The gag is, crows in Tokyo aren't invasive. People just hate them off principle. But if just liking trash was the only...
Well, I mean, dude, if they're swiping my freaking ice cream cone and trying to take out my child, yeah, I would also... put some aggression towards the crows.
barrier of entry, Japan would have more problems than a flying black Air Force. The problem is, crows had a counter for almost everything thrown at them. First is that
Not
crows...
flamethrowers. I bet you didn't do flamethrower. Japan. Okay. You guys were utterly ruthless in World War II. You guys were, I mean, Japan, I mean, you guys were terrifying, and you did some horrible stuff, right? What was that Unit 731? Unit 731? Yeah, you guys did some really, really horrible. So now, Japan, here's what you need to do. All those horrible things that you did to people in World War II, in your secret unit that the rest of the world knows about that you guys refuse to teach in your country, do that to the crows. The crows are smart. We just heard the crows are very smart. They will stop. I promise you, the first time a crow comes down and gets hit with a freaking flamethrower, the crows might go, huh? They're barbecuing us in midair. Maybe we should stop. Because we're talking about how smart crows are. I bet. Of course, then again, the crows would probably just go make flamethrowers of their own. And now you got crows diving with...
have great memories and hold grudges. In 2006, remember that year, the University of Washington conducted an experiment where 7 crows were trapped and eventually released by people wearing scary masks. Not too long after, study leader Professor John Marsloff was strolling the campus with a mask when 47 out of the 53 crows he encountered violently rejected to his presence. Each following year, the number of vindictive, on-site campus crows grew and peaked in 2013. Even though at this point, they'd only see the mask twice a year for a few hours, and especially even though most of the crows on the offensive weren't even alive at the start of the study. It wasn't until September 2023 that the harassment eventually stopped, and it probably wasn't even that they forgot, just that it took 17 years for them to drop the vendetta. There's also the implication that crows can communicate so well that even those born after the study could instantly tell which masks meant bad. So yeah, that memory is good for more than just garbage routes.
Okay, so here's what I'm hearing. Everybody who is designing or developing a super awesome science fiction series or fantasy series needs to study up on crows, their intelligence and all of that, and figure out how to make not just bird people, but like the crows. The crows are the smart ones. We should we should never uplift the crows into being people crows. Let's not do that. I've seen science fiction stuff and they're like, oh my gosh, we make hamster. Don't do it to the crows. But also with like the evolved crows as the fantasy race, they need to be absolutely brutal in warfare and highly intelligent and like a super wealthy nation. Crows with mech suits. Dude, no, we don't need crows. We don't need mech crows. But like, hear me out. I think this is a very, very good, Brandon Lee, right? I think this is a very good idea for a fantasy or science fiction, like uplifted race. This is an idea. I know I got some writers and some creatives down in the chat right now. I'm just, hear me out. Hear me out. And it's kind of based in scientific fact.
You do wrong by a crow, you're screwed for a very long time.
Yeah, but
which Tokyoites have learned the stressful way.
But
one man,
flamethrower then
Takaku, saw a couple of his colleagues being attacked.
I mean, and it's not like brake cleaner, dude, brake cleaner and a lighter. Hairspray and a lighter. Of course, I mean, I'm going to be real with you right now. If you flamethrowered one of those guys, there's a lot of them right there. You might actually die in this situation. Unless you're wearing some like armor or something. This is nuts. I love this guy's videos. He's so good. I wish I were. I need to just suck it up, sit down, and actually pull out the Vigi cameras, study up on some topics, and start the channel that I've been wanting to start for a while because I finally like figured out. I respect guys like this so much more than what I'm doing right now, just reacting to it. This he is doing so. You can't even see my mouse. I'm circling his face. I'm making hearts around his face right now because he deserves it. Guys like this absolutely deserve your time, effort, and energy to subscribe and like their channels and watch them. I didn't know he did YouTube stuff. I thought he was just doing TikTok. I'm going to subscribe to his channel because I love stuff like this. It's so good.
few crows and fended them off by swinging his belt. The crows backed off, but the next day, they returned to work to find hundreds of crows posted up on their building of business, waiting for them. So safe to say, conventional extermination doesn't really work on an animal that can learn the look of the workers doing it and will mob them on sight. They also tried traps where they bait the crows with food like lard and then gas the captured crows with carbon monoxide. But not only was that method way more costly than it was worth, they didn't expect a group of goth tweeties named Murder to turn death into a life lesson. Crows have funerals, but not the kind that you think where they mourn the dead. In fact, they're more likely to okay, anyway. When a crow sees another dead crow, it'll often call out to the surrounding birds, and they'll all gather around the fallen member to investigate the cause of death. A study even found that the sight of the deceased triggers activation in the part of the brain associated with higher order.
It's the black-winged mafia. What is this? I'd heard some of this. This is nuts, but I didn't know all of this. Why do we let them live? It's called humans are an invasive species. So have you met the crows?
Decision making, because crows understand cause and effect enough to realize that a threat to one is a threat to all, so they'll recruit others to investigate the cause of death. It's why crows will sometimes avoid a field for years if they see a past tense crow there once. The same study also found that crows will harass any human seen near the corpse, likely pinning the death on them, but will also do the same if they see a human with a hawk, probably realizing that a hawk and a human can equal a bad time. So mass crow killings barely put a dent in the population, and speaking of hawks, they weren't as effective as the government hoped, as although big enough,
nothing is as effective as the government hopes.
Hawks will murk crows. Crows will use their numbers to effectively mob birds of prey and chase them off. You see where I'm going with this, right? These Flyinsteins had a counter for everything. The Tokyo terrors would avoid areas with traps, and any crow deaths were likely reported on and adjusted for by the greater crow community. And let me just remind you that crows were out.
This is literally one of the greatest videos I've ever seen in my life. I'm like not even just saying that. I'm going to adjust the camera here a little bit. We're gonna adjust on the fly, chat, because I feel like it would look a little bit better if we just kind of shorten it up just a bit. And we just move that over a bit. There we go. I think that looks way better. Okay, let's keep watching.
Here making decoy nests to slow their human ops down. Even with the crow cavalry falling from its near 40,000 population peak, in 2010, there were still an estimated 20,000 running the naked city.
Yeah, but that's a good number. We can get them numbers down. We can fight the crows. I am now a crow abolitionist. That's where I'm at. We need to abolish the crows. This is wild.
Even more creative. This is how bad it got. Tokyo had researchers studying more than 10,000 different crow sounds and isolating the specific sound they make in response to a predator and playing those calls on loudspeakers near trash sites. Basically what pilot whales do to orcas, Japan had to resort to with a bird. But really the only thing that made a difference was regulating the very problem that caused it. People started covering their trash with blue protective tarps, and Utsunomiya University professor Shuei Sugira helped develop a special yellow garbage bag that the crows couldn't see through. And it had to be a very specific yellow or else it wouldn't work. Many places like restaurants in Ginza pivoted to having their garbage collected at
nuts. Abolition. What the fuck, dude?
Night instead of the crows prime time.
Crows are smarter than some voters, bro. They are. Dude, I never thought that I would see Gangs of New York in crow form, but now I realize that I have. Oh, my headphone just came detached. Magnetic headphones, good for things, but also not good for. Yeah, dude. Seriously, this is freaking wild. Who shared this? I think it was Creative Welshman that shared this in the Discord. I gotta subscribe to this guy's channel. I'm gonna subscribe to
time of late morning. But by far, the most effective measure was just making less trash in the first place. And Tokyo's 3.52 million metric tons of trash in 2001 was cut down to 2.45 million in 2024. Eventually, the crow numbers would start to chip away, and in 2026, the population is only 20% of its peak 2 decades ago. That was the only way a trash terrorist was going to be beat, as bird experts noted that the traps would only work on younger, dumber crows, and that the birds even figured out how to work around the protective protective tarps. But some experts worry that the war isn't over, that it's only a matter of time before the next wave of street-smart crow fiends rise up again. Crows are just too smart to be defeated by conventional methods, because crows are not a conventional bird. In fact, they might have the most unconventional form of self-defense. Crows are the biggest trolls in the animal kingdom, and I don't think it's close. But what if I told you the rage bait's strategic? Let me explain. Crows are omnivore opportunists, and a lot of those opportunities come from scavenging. But scavenging can put them up against much bigger, more powerful predators. So crows will often be so annoying that they force the competition to rage quit. And they'll do this by pulling feathers, and they'll do this to some of the largest birds of prey.
So wait, you're telling me crows just come up and be like, why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? And they're just like, go away. They're like, why are you hitting yourself? And they're like, I'm not hitting myself. You're pulling my feathers. Why are you pulling your feathers? Why are you pulling your feathers? It's like, leave me alone. It's like, I'm not touching you. It's like, yes, you're definitely touching me. Is that what crows do? They just play, I'm not touching you until a larger bird of prey gives up? Bro, I need to take notes, man. Because I need to become an online crow. This is what we need to do. We need to embrace, I take it back. Okay, here's what we need. We need to embrace the crow. We need to become the crow online. And we need to go and we need to find the garbage online, and then we just need to infest the areas of the online garbage and become the crow and cause the people who are making the garbage online to rage quit. My eyes have been opened. We must become the crow.
Sea eagles are big enough to catch an AI accusation, but a crow will still tail check them. And in this video, you start to see why, with this crow pulling up on 2 turkey vultures and repeatedly baiting one of them until the vulture finally has enough and makes it the bystander's problem, allowing the crow access to the bird bath. An even more extreme example was a crow arriving
just so bro could dip his ass in some water. What in the world are these things?
Arriving at a fresh carcass and waiting for stronger vultures to tear into the hide he couldn't. And with the gift box open, the crow immediately started pulling tails and testing patience, until eventually the troll bird instigated a vulture brawl, during which he snuck in and stole him a piece. It seems the habitual line stepping is a way for the crow to counter brawn with brain. But crows will use troll tendencies on anything from seagulls to eagles, from deer to dogs. But there's one animal that always seems to fall for the rage bait. The number of catfights provoked by crows is actually insane. I don't know what
okay, I support the crows here, actually. I'm not a cat person. The thing happening right now to the cat is most likely deserved. From thousands of years of cats making white women bring them into the house and making their men suffer the existence of cats. I don't like cats. We have like 6 cats. Admittedly, most of the cats that we have were actually injured very badly. Some of them would have died had we not intervened. And when you nurse an animal back to health, you tend not to get rid of them. So we have a lot of cats because the injured ones always find their way to my house, and it's tough to want to give them away, especially when you spend time, effort, energy, money, love, care, affection. I don't like cats though. I don't like them.
Crow said to that cat to make him crash out like that, but surely someone's mother was involved. And then
he pissed off the cat so bad he started fighting another cat.
Crow is right there to enjoy the violent fruits of their
Oh my God!
Crows don't want peace. They thrive off problems. Just to hover above it like a boxing promoter.
What?
Now, it's possible the crows recognize the cats as a threat, and this is a 900 IQ play to kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
What is this?
It would make sense for crows to turn cats on each other, especially if they have fledglings or a nest nearby. But crows are also smart enough to just do stuff for fun, and they're smart enough to use tools to do it. So I could 100% see crows using live cats as tools for their own amusement. Especially since in a lot of these clips, the crows don't look like they have anything to gain. No food, no agenda, just free will and love of the game. So what do you think? Anti-predator measures, resource access strategy, or just pure trolling? Who's to say it's not all 3? But whatever it is, it does unlock a new level of the crow's IQ.
What?
Theory of mind is the ability to recognize that other beings have thoughts and mental states that can be used to predict or even manipulate behavior. Here's a quick test. Let's say person A puts a sandwich in the office refrigerator, but then person B comes along and takes the sandwich out the fridge and puts it in a pencil drawer. At lunchtime, where's the first place person A would look? If you have theory of mind, you'd say the fridge because that's where A left it, and you know that they don't know that person B is a sandwich thieving waste of carbon. Now if you're thinking, well obviously no shit, well congratulations, you have the emotional bandwidth of at least a toddler. But crows have shown advanced levels of theory of mind just by knowing that if they frustrate a cat long enough, the cat will eventually take it out on a fellow cat. Another example is
It's because cats are stupid. The crows have recognized what I've known for years. Coffee pot destroying mother.
Crows will often hide food, but will also pretend to hide food if they know they're being watched, making a big show out of it and even making sounds associated with being happy, just to keep the food stuff in their beak and hide it for real later. And it's the crows that do the stealing that are most likely to
bro, that's a cookie master right there. That guy, that dude. Look at that. Oh. That man's nose, he's like, yup, I got me some Oreos.
Perform theft insurance, meaning they can put themselves in the mind of another crow and act accordingly. Now I don't want to act like this is a super complex thing, like squirrels will do the same misdirection to protect their nuts. We're just gonna ignore that they often forget where they put them for real, and that ADHD builds forests. But crows
squirrels are lovable. Don't you fucking dare, Mario Trujillo. I will ban your ass. Don't you fucking call me a cat. That was a question. You're a cat, right? No.
Of course, this got the seagulls' attention, and with all their biblical greed, they flew over to steal again. And while the seagulls were left with the stick the crow was posturing as food, the crow was able to spin back and take the fries, their pride, and
what? So the crow is literally they beat him up, they take his fries, and he goes over somewhere else. Like, oh man, dude, I found so much. Dude, I found this food that's so much better than fries. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so amazing. Oh my god. Oh crap, they're coming to steal my super good. Oh, you're here to steal my super good. Here, you can have my super good food. It was a stick. And he goes back over and he takes the fries. He's like, dumb fucking bitches. It was a fucking stick. It wasn't food. Now I got fries. Stupid seagulls. This is terrifying. I did not realize that. I did not realize the animals could. This is wild.
Along with theory of mind, crows were also able to pass Aesop's test. In this one,
I've seen this one.
Foresight to understand that they can reach a treat in a small tube by dropping stones to raise the water level high enough. Raccoons were able to pass the test, as were apes, although they got creative, with an orangutan spitting water into the tube to grab the prize, and a chimpanzee just peeing in it. When it was the crow's turn to step to the plate, not only did they pass, they knew enough to use solid sinking objects over those that float, and understood that using the same logic with a tube full of sand made no sense. That performance put the crow on par with a 5 to 7-year-old child, which again, is pretty solid for an animal with a brain the weight of 3 nickels. Interestingly, crows did not pass the mirror test, and save
What are these things? What was God thinking the day that he made crows?
to European magpies, corvids in general didn't seem to recognize the bird in the mirror. But they do seem to understand the concept of reflection, with Caledonian crows able to find hidden food that was only visible by looking at a mirror from a certain angle. But
what's going on, Convoy? We're learning about crow. Oh, dude, oh, geez, dude. Hopefully that gets better, dude. I've also been having vehicle issues as well.
Did you know crows can understand analogy? Being able to clock an analogy like
I didn't know crows could form mafias and decide to take on the city of Tokyo and also like make cats fight each other. I didn't know any of this about crows. What?
Is to air what fish is to water, was believed to be a strictly human trait, but studies show that primates like chimpanzees and even monkeys like baboons can learn the concept. So how do we figure out crows can too? I'm gonna explain, but first, you gotta lock in. Okay? Lock in.
Dude, I was locked in a while ago. What are you talking about, lock in? I'm a drinking redneck on YouTube. Like I can't I'm not pounding a beer. I'm not doing that. I'm not in my 20s anymore. I don't slam beers anymore. If I slam a beer now, it's not going to end up well. Okay, but I'm locked in. As much as a drinking redneck. Chat, are you locked in? Comments section, are you locked in? If you're watching the VOD, get locked in. Comments section, let's go.
Alright, let's do it.
Let's go.
So this test, led by Edward Wasserman of the University of Iowa, started off pretty simple.
Of course, it's the University of Iowa.
First, they trained 2 hooded crows to match the correct card to the sample card. They'd have 3 cards and 2 cups. The card in the middle would be the sample card, and it would be something like 2 blue circles. And the 2 cards would be on top of the 2 cups, and one card might be something like 1 red and 1 blue circle, and the other one could be a square and a triangle. See, now the crow would have to understand that the correct card would be the one that also has 2 circles, and picking the right one would reveal a juicy mealworm at the bottom of the cup. The other cup contains nothing, because wrong answers deserve nothing.
Exactly.
Another example would be if the middle card had 2 pink squares,
Right.
and option 1 had a pink circle and a pink triangle, and option 2 had 2 green triangles, then the correct answer would be the one that also has all pink. The crows passed easily. But that wasn't the experiment.
What?
That was the warm-up. Because I just described
No!
identity matching to sample, IMTS. The real test would be if they could solve relational matching to sample, or RMTS. RMTS basically means if the sample pair is AA and your options are BB and CD, then the right answer would be BB. You would pick BB.
Yeah.
If the sample was CD and your options were EF and GG, you'd pick EF.
Yeah,
See, now that's
because-
analogical thinking, because AA and BB aren't literally the same, but they are in terms of the relationship the letters in the pair have to each other. So right here,
Well, yeah, because it's pairing. It's looking up the similarities these things have. This is ridiculous.
the crow would have to understand that because the sample card has 2 different samples, then the card with the reward would also have 2 different shapes. Nice. Alright, try it again. Bueno. Now you
What?
want to hear the kicker? They were not trained to do this. They got this on the first try.
What?
They went straight from IMTS to analogical thinking, completely on their own. We're still talking about crows here. And Wasserman said it. It'd be one thing if they were brute forced into learning, but the fact that they were able to reason their way into the right answer on the fly, you almost have to
We need to nuke the crows, all of them. We just find we need to get little baby drone nukes, and they're going to take over the planet. This is scarier than the California law that I just talked about. What the
reevaluate how smart you think they are. And that's why you're not ready for the crow revolution. Their greatest weapon is their mind, and you can get wrecked purely off of pattern recognition. Lisa Joyce was attacked by crows during a 4th of July celebration in Vancouver. What was weird was, out of the hundreds of
Now they're taking on Canada? They're way too close. They're too close to America. Nope. 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 T-Daddy needs to take care of this. T-Daddy, call T-Daddy, get him on the phone right now and be like, hey, T-Daddy, we need you. We got this problem with the crows. You see there these black-winged birds. I know you're blowing up Iran right now. We need you to take care of the crows. This is ridiculous. Why did it just exit my video?
people outside, Lisa was the only victim. The harassment only got worse to the point where she had to change her commute because a literal murder would be waiting for her outside on her way to work. After weeks of avian abuse, she stumbled across a local Facebook support group with women talking about their crow trauma and other than, being tweeted.
A fucking Facebook support group for fucking crow violence. What? It sounds funny, but I'm just trying to walk to my car.
Target practice, Lisa noticed all the women had one thing in common. They all had long blonde hair. As for why blonde bias,
Oh, I can't make that joke. I can't make that joke. Fuck it, I'm gonna make it. Crows be like, hey, what was she wearing?
well, you might find your answer in Seattle. That's where science writer and fellow blonde Lynn Peoples was jogging when she took multiple bird strikes to the back of the dome. Later in her jog, she saw a man, probably having a mental episode, absolutely crashing out at the birds at the park, chasing and kicking at them, birds that included crows. He also had a long ponytail. Guess what color it was?
It was blonde.
You can catch heat from a murder as a bystander, and your only options are to move, dye your hair.
What?
Or I guess you could wait in the house for 17 years like a cicada. Crow
That's
hate crimes have
insane.
gotten so common, someone developed an app to track crow attacks, and crow tracks quickly gained thousands of reports. As much as I love crows, I can understand why people are terrified of them. They're the most human bird on the planet.
This is
That
nuts.
is really uncomfortable to some people. Well, let me make it worse. Because corvids like crows, but especially ravens, have had a relationship with wolves that is eerily familiar.
Somebody mentioned this in the chat earlier. What in the world?
You see, corvids will scavenge off wolves' leftovers, but often it's the flying dry snitch that leads the pack to them in the first place. In return, the wolves seem to tolerate the birds picking at the meat once the wolves have ripped it open. But it's not just a business relationship, as ravens and crows have been seen playing with wolves in Yellowstone.
You ever seen that? Yeah, you ever seen that picture of the magpie eating the mushroom from Mario? And it's like, we're going on a trip in our favorite rocket ship.
Sometimes grabbing sticks to play tug-of-war, or sometimes even flying above the wolves to get them to jump at them. The birds seem to especially favor playing with wolf pups, and naturalists watching swear by corvids having emotional bonds with specific members of the pack.
They're training the dogs. They're training the dog. The doggos are now crows, but no, we can't allow this. Doggos are our best friends, crows. We need to, how do we do this? We need to end them. The crows, they're stealing our best friends. They're stealing them from us. This cannot be allowed. We can't allow this. We can't allow this. We are the apex predator.
Caledonian crows, the ones that pass the tube test, can not only use tools, but they'll build them, like with multiple steps. Like if you give a Caledonian a box with food and a bunch of sticks, but none of the sticks are long enough to reach the prize, the crow has the presence of mind to combine multiple sticks to retrieve the treat. That kind of compound tool use basically puts them at primate tier. So let's see here, able to use tools, hold grudges, wage straight up war, befriend wolves, understand analogies. Yeah, either they're the humans of birds or we're the crows of primates. And that's probably the biggest reason why people fear them, the driver's seat. And that's gonna do it for this video. Drink water, hug your mother. I for one welcome our imminent avian overlords, just for anyone watching. Acknowledge your father, and I'ma see y'all in the next one.
I knew like 10% of that going into this video. By the way, okay, subscribing to that channel, also sharing that down in the chat right now. What the hell did I just watch? Andrew Map, a member for 38 months, says we let them live because they let us live. Now, I think that we need to renegotiate this deal. Like, a lot. Like, we very much need to, and for $2, Andrew Knapp, by the way, dude, thank you for the super chats. You ain't got to do that, man. Thank you. He says, now girls must ask man, bear, or crow. Fuck. That's not even, that's insane. If I see a crow now, I don't even know what I'm going to do. Because it's like, well, I see a crow, I'd be like afraid of my kids, but like, you know what? All right, I'm gonna tell the kids, be friendly with the crows. Be friendly with the crows and like give them the foods and then give them the pets. And then I'm going to have a murder of crows guarding my house. And I will teach the crows to go after the Karens. I have a couple of Karens in my neighborhood. There's an uptick of crow on Karen violence in my neighborhood. It's not my fault. Thanks for checking out the VOD. Talking to the chat right now. What the fuck? This is the crow father, right? Based. You see a crow, make sure it doesn't turn into a standoff. Right? Exactly. That is a W strategy. The crows targeting Karen said it's so great. Yeah, in another video, he goes into more detail about crows and wolves. Dude, that's so great. I have watched them here many times. That way they can get there. That's without getting hit. That's insane. This is going to war. This is going to war with white women. But they were like, the white women weren't even like trying to be like, how dare you not let us in crow spaces? Like with dudes, they were like, how dare you make man-only spaces? White women are just like out there, just like in the world. And the crows are like, you're in our space, bitch. Oh my God. The crow is solving these faster than I am. Right. The crow finds out where the food faster than you do. That's not good. Oh my gosh. That is insane. I think to cap off tonight's stream, I'm going to check out, this was posted in the Discord. This is Parasite Mutant, the official trailer. This is an indie CRPG that I just think looks really dope, and I want to share it with you guys and react to it because I absolutely love sharing stuff. I believe this is an indie team as well. I already wishlisted it on Steam. Let's react to this together, guys, because this looks cool. May contain content inappropriate for children. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you've already sent in your government mandated age verification and data stuff to your local ISP and all that, so that way they can share your data with whoever asks for it before we watch this video. And for those of you who are unaware, who are watching the VOD, that's a shot at California. Let's check this out. Whoa, whoa. That's way better visuals than I thought. Okay, he got teeth on his tongue. Oh! Wait, is that a scar? Was that a scar? It looked like a scar. Definitely looked like a scar. Can I play as a dude or do I have to play as a blonde chick? I don't like playing as chicks. This looks... What in the weeb shit am I seeing? I want to play as a dude though. I don't want to play as the blonde chick. Can I play as a dude? Dude, she's wearing fucking go-go boots and a fucking business skirt. I can see why people are checking this out. That's funny. This is some old school RPG shit. What? So wait, we've got zombies, we've got giant mechs, we've got giant bugs. What is this? And we've got a female shonen protagonist, which is weird, but, you know, it's fine. And then you've got the evil woman who's got the tiggle bitties just kind of hanging out for that. Interesting. That, can I play as a dude character? Or do I have to play as the chick? Like that could be the seal for me, to be honest. Because I just don't like playing as chick characters in games. It's not my jam. Yeah. But I'm gonna share that with you guys because that looks really, really cool. Exactly. Anyhow, I gotta call it a night. God bless. Hey, God bless Mario Trujillo. But before I go, it looks like your wife got her own video game, right? Oh, by the way, I'm supposed to share this. Go check out Metalhead Maiden on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Metalhead Maiden, my wife is posting game captures from playing with her friends. She's been doing marathons. She's been doing Arc Raiders. She's been doing Call of Duty Warzone, posting those, sharing really funny clips. I'm trying to get everything set up for her to stream. So she's going to be streaming on Twitch very soon, possibly Kick, and then some other platforms as well. But I'm going to be working in the background to kind of help produce and do all that stuff for her to help her out. But yeah, go check out Metalhead Maiden, my lovely wife, who is streaming, and she makes some very, very funny content. She also makes some very, very, very funny reels. So go do that thing and support my wife because I love her. She's awesome. And ladies and gentlemen, all of that being said, I absolutely think that I'm going to call it for tonight because I now have to worry about the Californian government trying to let my data go over to China freely, and also the rise of our crow overlords that I didn't know were going to overlord us. And I don't know whether to cry or plan, because I feel like if I plan, the crows are going to exact venue. They're just gonna know. And so I feel like if I cry, I would rather have the crows laugh at me for crying then brutally attack, burn down my house, and hang me on a pike in front of the ashes for planning against them. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what to do right now. Because the crows are gonna be, but seriously, the Blackwing Mafia needs to be an uplifted or fantasy race, because crows and use some of that real world stuff when you're writing about the crows in your book. Maybe I just do that. You could seriously make a good fantasy series just out of the crows and call it The Crows and just use crow culture and everything that we just learned. That's got video game potential, that's got book potential, that's got comic book potential, that's got animation potential. Am I crazy? Obviously I'm crazy, but also I'm terrified now. If I see crows, I'm burning them. I probably shouldn't do that. I'm assuming there's a law about shooting flamethrowers into the air. Yeah. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into A Drink with Crazy. I appreciate all the stuff you guys are sharing with me in my Discord. It's absolutely awesome. And as always, until next time, cheers, everybody.